Welcome, everyone, to A Mexican and a Redneck Father the World. We are your hosts and surrogate fathers, Juan and Ben. Today we'll be discussing enjoying the moment.
Just enjoying the moment, Ben.
Loving it.
Just living in the moment instead of living somewhere else. You know, this is a subject that I kind of want to been talking about because I feel like we're living in a time where we're so distracted, so easily distracted, and there's so much stuff going on, from football season's here. Got to pick up my fantasy football team. And, fall is here, so you got to get ready for the pumpkin patch.
Yeah, wait, stop. You have a fantasy football team?
Yeah, in my head. Yeah, it's just me.
It's just you.
Yeah, it's completely fantasy.
Who's your opponent?
Huh?
Who are you playing?
You.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's in my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I win, though?
No, you lose every single time.
That's a good reflection of how you feel about yourself, at least.
Yeah, I'm the winner.
That's good.
All the time.
If you were losing in your own fantasy world in your
I don't know
head-
why people make it such a big deal with like fantasy football leagues. It's like, oh, I lost this week. Like, how did he lose? It's a fantasy football league.
It's a fantasy.
You just win. I win all the time. Doesn't make any sense. That's how it works, right?
I don't know. I don't know what fantasy football is.
I don't know. It's big.
It's something on the computer.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Moving on. You like the pumpkin patch like I do. That's all that matters. It's fall. Pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
We're living in the moment.
But living in the moment. So this got me really thinking the other day because obviously we have little kids, and it got me thinking about like my memories that I have as a little kid, and there were all these moments, these really like magic, almost in a way, kind of like magical moments, and I was trying to think about it like. How many times did I actually experience that? Was it just a one-time moment that just got ingrained in my head, and I was like, wow, that was really, really, really awesome, or was it multiple times? So, but it really got me thinking as far as like, am I living in the moment right now with my kids? Because they're going to get older. And then am I going to look back and think like, man, I wish I had spent more time with them. I wish I had been more involved there in what they're doing, which I think that's usually the case. Anybody that I speak to that's always older, that has older kids, I hear the same thing. Man, I wish I would have realized what's important, like spending time with them and enjoying them.
Oh yeah, that's a very reinforced thing by. I mean, it's unanimous with most adults who have older children. They're like, enjoy it. I have an opportunity example to travel a lot with work. I've just told them I don't want to travel because I want to see my kids grow up.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with you guys or the work you're giving me, but I'm working hard to build a life for my children and myself. And part of that means being there every day for them. And they're like, oh, we can respect that. And that's good. That's the way it should be. My kids are older now, and I'm glad I stayed at home with them and didn't travel as much as I could too. Good for you.
Yeah. Because that, it's like, what are you really going to be missing out on? It's like you may be in a position in your life where you're like, oh, I'm trying to achieve financial success, or I'm trying to achieve this, or case in point for myself right now, we're trying to finish a house. We're trying to, make it more livable. There's a new baby coming, and there's about 1,000 different projects that need to get done. But then at the same time, there's also moments with my kids that if I don't take the time to actually enjoy it, it's going to be gone. My little girl the other day, she came to me and she was like, Daddy, can we just go on a daddy-daughter walk? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, we can. Let's go. And it was such a beautiful moment, Ben. Her and I just walking. It was just her and I in the moment, talking to each other. And I wonder, I know that's going to become a memory in my life, and is going to become a memory for me that I'm going to cherish down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be the same thing for her? I hope it is. I think it will be. But if not, there is going to be other moments that she's going to cherish because we live that moment, so this is not necessarily about planning out the perfect moment and trying to make it perfect, but it's just whenever an opportunity comes up, just taking advantage of it and living it out, because I think those memories, they naturally happen and the most inopportune times. It's like when you're super busy, but then your kid says, "Hey, can we do this together?" And you're like, "You know what? Yeah, let's do that together."
And as they get older, your children probably will start to appreciate the fact that they know how important your work or your project or whatever it is for you, but you took time away from that thing that's very important to you. And you said, no, you're more important than my project at work or my project at home or whatever the circumstance may be. Like, I think as they get older, they kind of start realizing, oh yeah, especially when you get to our age, we're okay. Now we're in our 30s and we're looking back and we're like, my dad could have finished that project a lot sooner, working on the house, for example, but he took time to let me help him with the project. And it set him back, 3 hours or whatever. Or he could have, had a lot more time to rest. It's like, yeah, but instead he went and took you camping or, whatever the thing may be. And as an adult now, there's something that happens when you get older, you start having kids, and maybe you slow down from all that testosterone and youthful aggression that's running through you, and you start looking around going, oh, wow, when my parents did this, this, and this, that was pretty hard, because it's hard for me. I started observing this in my late 20s. It was hard for me to go to work and have a wife and some kids, but now when I look back, it's like, well, my parents were going to work, they're having a wife, they're having kids, but they were also taking me camping or taking me to play paintball or whatever thing, growing up. And I was like, wow, that was a lot of effort on their part.
Yeah.
And I became very appreciative of it more as I have gotten older.
Yeah. Man, that's so good too, Ben. Because especially too, like right now, I think if we start looking around the world and everything that's going on, we can kind of go into this deep, dark hole of depression. And we lose sight of all the good that's really happening at the same time, And in any point in time, there's always going to be good and there's always going to be bad. And so I guess it really just comes down to like, what is it you're focused on, And this is something that I've come really ask myself the question is like, I could really spend a lot of time worrying about, what tomorrow's going to bring, and like, the troubles that tomorrow's going to bring. And it's probably not going to do me any good, and then how many times have you heard that story of like parents or individuals who like, look how hard I'm working for you. But then, the kid says, well, I never asked you to work that hard for me. I asked you to be with me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, ooh, it's like, what is, like, are we doing things that our kids don't even want us to do? It's like, yeah, they don't really care about that new toy. They want to be able to play with their dad, even if it's with an old toy.
Oh yeah. Or just go for that walk that's absolutely free.
Yeah. Yeah. It
won't cost you anything that you haven't already paid for.
Yeah.
You've given her the house and the neighborhood. You've given her food so she's not hungry. You've given her shoes. Use what you got.
Yeah.
Love what you have. And spend that time with your daughter. That's incredible. Good for you've won one. Congratulations. You win the grand prize.
I hope so. I do hope so, because even with this podcast that we're doing, Ben, the goal behind it is to help other men out there to become better men, become better fathers. And I think the spirit of being a good father, I mean, that's just something that's it's easy to say, it's hard to live out.
Oh yeah.
It's real easy to say like, oh, I want to be a good dad. Okay, well, what does that mean? What does that mean to be a good dad? Because it's the daily walks, the daily choices. Like, every morning when you're waking up, are you deciding, are you being committed to that choice that you made of being a good dad? Because there's going to come days where being a good dad is not going to be easy, because there's still the responsibilities. You have to be a good provider. You have to be a good employee. Like, what comes first? Is it your work comes first or your kids come first? Well, there's going to be situations where, your work is going to have to come first because you got to do it. But then have you spent enough time with your child for them to be able to understand is like, you know what, it's okay. Go on and do that, Dad. Because I know when you're done with that, you're going to spend time with me. or is everything else so much more important, and then your kid is on back burner, and you're like, hey, just hang on, one day we're gonna have time, but then that one day comes, and then the kids moved on. It's like, oh wait, you were never there. Now you want to spend time with me? It's like, what is it that we're building for? You know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, man, that's good. There's somebody should write a song about that.
Is there a song about it?
I think there might be a song about it.
I thought you were gonna go that route. Are you gonna
There's-
sing?
There's
Are
a
we about
saying.
to? Are we about to have a
The
song?
cats in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man on the moon.
Is that what that song's about?
Yeah, it's about the dad pushing the kid. When you coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll be together then, dad or son or what. I don't.
Man.
But yeah, it's about the dad who was too busy for his kid. So then the kid grows up, and then the dad, I guess he's getting lonely or slowing down or whatever. I think it was Cat Stevens who sang that song. I could be wrong. I don't remember what album, so copyright people don't come after me. But I'm trying to quote it accurately. But that's what it's about. The dad grows up, or the dad's growing up with this kid, and he's not spending time with the kid, playing ball or whatever. But he's like, I know we'll have a real good time when we get together. He's like, yeah. And then so the kid grows up, and the dad, he's like, hey, son, what's going on? He's like, well, I'd like to, but the wife and the kids are down with the flu, and I've got a lot of work to do. But it's been nice talking to you, Dad. I know we'll have a real good time next time we get together. And so basically the son literally repeats the sins of the father, if
Yeah.
you will,
Yeah.
as it goes. And so but that's what it's about, and it's like how you treat your kids today. Are you enjoying that moment, or do you got to wash the car?
Oh, man.
Do you got to clean the house? Do you got to go to work? Do you got to go to your social group? Or you just going to check out on Facebook for 3 hours instead of building something out of Legos or playing Barbies or babies or soccer or whatever your kid's into? Is that what's your goal here? Just 3 hours on social media? Great. Those people don't love you. I'm telling you now. But the people in your home, they do love you.
Mm-hmm.
They do want you. Regardless of what people on social media say or wherever you're spending your time, the people in your home looking up to you, they love you more than anyone else. And they want to be like you too.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, your kids want to be like you at one point in their lives. Now, depending on how you behave, it might change.
Yeah, it might be in my question with it, because sometimes you hear them say things and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I don't want you to do that. Don't do that. I don't want you to do that because I'm doing that. That's a bad habit. I'm trying to break that habit. So yeah, let's not copy that habit."
Yes.
Yeah, so that can be.
And so, pro tip, I've spent a lot of time doing this, but forgiveness is one of the cornerstones of enjoying the moment. When you forgive people, and this is a huge topic, and we'll definitely discuss it later, but when you forgive people, you are able to live in the moment because every little thing around you is not triggering that anger that you have inside of you.
Oh,
I know
wow.
this is kind of a curveball coming at you last minute in the podcast, but forgiveness is so important. Someone upset you 20 years ago or deeply hurt you. I mean, it's real. If you ain't forgiven them, you'll see something, you'll hear something, observe something, and it'll put you right back in that state from, 5 years ago, 5 days ago, 20 years ago, however long it was. It'll put you back in that state of mind, and you'll just be filled with rage. And you can't go or anger or hurt or whatever. And then that person has control over you again, whether they know it or not.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And you're in a rage, and it's like you can't think about taking your kid for a walk. You want to go off and cry or punch something or whatever your default is.
Man, that's so good. That's so good that you brought that up, Ben, because I find myself in a lot of situations where I find myself telling myself like, well, I didn't have that as a kid, and I did just fine. And it's like, well, is that what I'm going for? Just fine with my kids? Is that what I want for them
Yeah.
to be just fine, or do I want them to thrive? Do I want them to exceed my life? Do I want them for my ceiling to be their floor?
Oh yeah.
But that is so good because it's like there's things that I experienced as a kid that, yeah, I've had to forgive, my parents, individuals, but now am I going to pass that on to my kids and be like, hey, this pain will be good for you. Here you go. You'll be all right. No, you want to pass on that joy. You want to teach the lesson of the pain so they don't experience it, but you want to pass on that joy so they can have that moment and just grow from that and become a better individual.
Oh yeah, I mean, what greater honor is there, in my opinion? What greater honor is there than your kids doing something truly great and wonderful and making you proud because you built good character?
Yeah.
You implemented everything you knew how to do, and you have a child of good character representing your family for the next generation. It's like I don't know if you ask old men and old women, what's most important, for your children. Would you want a child that has good character that you love having around, or a ton of money or houses or whatever? That I think they would all unanimously agree, hopefully, that having great children who have great character is absolutely what you want
Oh, yeah.
in your life. And that looks different for every region and culture and stuff, but overall, you want these people you want to have lunch with in 20 years.
Yeah.
I want to be able to call my daughter or my son, daughters or son, and say, hey, can we go eat lunch? And
Yeah.
they're like, yeah. It's like, oh, I'm so excited. I get to
Yeah.
go eat lunch with them. This is great. And you might have eaten lunch with them 3 days ago, but you're like, my kid, because at some point, it's no longer the authoritarian trying to guide the child. It becomes a friendship.
Yeah.
It's like, who do you want to be friends with in 20 years?
Yeah.
You want to be friends with the person you are now that you might not like very much? Or do you want to try and be friends with someone you really like and want to be like? Because you have an opportunity to input a lot of good that you know exists and put it into them and raise them to be that good that you always hoped you could be.
Yeah.
And when it starts happening, because this happened to me a few times where my kids have thrown some really good character back at me. It's like, whoa, that's my kid.
Yeah.
I raised them. This is incredible. I have good kids. People are complimenting me on my kids. This is incredible. How did that happen? Oh my goodness. Am I alive? I can't believe people actually like the children I'm raising. I like them, but I have a bias. So
Hey, hey, let me tell you though, man. I hear not a lot of people may have kids, but they don't necessarily always like them.
This is true. Also,
When you have kids and you like your kids, you're doing something right. Hopefully. Anyways, guys, with that being said, we want to thank you for listening to A Mexican Redneck Follow the World. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast as much as we've enjoyed it. And we just want to wish you a good day, a good, prosperous day. And remember, go check us out on YouTube. Because we got that YouTube channel. We did it just for you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the little bell button icon thing, and all.
The click. We love you and we're proud of you.